like to welcome everybody to the press conference for the March Mayhem show, which is on 12th of March here at York Hall. It's being promoted by Michael Ballingall in association with Goodwin Boxing, but unfortunately Michael's stuck on the M3 in traffic. He's not going to make it here, and if you haven't already recognised, this isn't Michael Ballingall, it's former European and WBF champion Ted Bammy. But what I'll do is I'll introduce everybody very briefly, and then we'll have a chat with everybody on the table. Starting on our far left, one of the country's leading trainers, Paul Cook. He trained his son Nicky to become world champion, and he's now in charge of Mark Little, an exciting cruiserweight from Dagenham. Sitting next to him is in fact Mark, who has his second pro fight on the 12th of March here, and he done very well against Moses Matuva on his debut, and he steps up a little bit in class again today. Next to Mark, we have one of the most exciting lightweight, stroke light welterweight prospects in the country, Bradley Smith. Bradley was a top amateur, coming from Cambridgeshire. He's good friends with Tommy Martin, and I would expect Bradley to do at least as well as Tommy has done. I think he's an exciting prospect. He's trained by Steve Whitwell, and together as a team, I think they can go major places. Next to Bradley is one of the hardest hitting cruiserweights in the country, a man by the name of Ozzy Jervier. He may be 33, but he's had 2 fights already, stopped both opponents. Not many stopped Moses Matuvu, and Ozzy did. He's going to blast through the cruiserweight scene this year without a shadow of a doubt. Next to Ozzy is a young man, Eric McConzo. Now Eric made his debut quite a few years ago here at York Hall, and I got to know Eric quite well. He decided that he wanted to retake out his professional boxing licence, and he decided he wanted to be a journeyman. So off he went to Leeds and demolished his opponent in a minute and knocked him clean out. All of a sudden the phone stopped ringing. Now he competes for his first title in the challenge belt against Dalton Miller, and a win here will probably mean his journeyman days are over and his title aspirations will begin. Next to Eric, Ted Bammy. Ted trains Eric, and Ted's a champion himself, and he's all credit to Ted for what he's done with Eric already, and we're looking forward to seeing what Eric brings on the 12th of March in an absolutely cracking fight against Dalton Miller. On my right hand side, in the absence of Dalton being here, is Dalton's trainer Rod Julian. We'll talk about Dalton's chances to Rod as we go along. Rod is one of London's expanded trainers with 11 professionals in his stable. And was also responsible for the other joint top of the bill, Mustard Mike, aka Michael Peart, who competes for the challenge belt title. Next to Mike, Chris Evangelou. Chris is part of the famous Evangelou brothers. Chris was doing very well. He won his Masters title and was really in line for area straight English contention, but unfortunately he's had hand problems that has kept him out of the ring for over a year, but he's back, and we hope he's back with a bang. Next to Chris is undefeated heavyweight Dave Abraham. Dave's 3-0. He faces the toughest test yet in Igor Mihalovic on this show. Dave is 3-0. He knows what heavyweight boxing brings. If you get it right, it's a lot of money, and it can also give you massive kudos in the sport, and that's where Dave is aiming for. And finally, next to Dave is a young man who it's been a pleasure to manage, Adrian Martin. He had trouble getting his licence at first, we got it through, and he looked fantastic on his debut against Gabor Balog. And then on March the 12th, he has his second fight, and I'm really looking forward to see Adrian progress. I've been watching him in sparring, he's getting better and better, and I think that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with over the next few years. So starting from the left, and Paul Cook. Paul, you've got Mark. How far do you see him going in the sport, and how has training been going for his second fight?
It's been going good. He's obviously improving all the time. He's got to improve. He's had no amateur career, and I'm very pleased with him at the moment. 4 rounds, no problem at the moment. A couple more fights, and I want him back to 6 rounds.
So how hard is it, Michael? So how difficult is it taking a fighter from scratch again when you've been at the highest level of training boxers?
Well, it ain't been easy, let's put it that way. That's like a trophy, but as we said to interviewer downstairs. He's come a long way, but he's been a 22 stone big fitter to where he is now. He started off in the white collar fighting, then a couple of areas, then we moved on to down licence, which is another step. And then just to get his first fight as a professional was a massive achievement, really. And then another step was that he won it. And so from wherever he does now, it's just going to be a bonus every fight.
I think one thing we can say though, coming from white collar and unlicensed isn't a block to where you can achieve. Ben Day's proven that to go and be Southern Area champion after about 7 fights, and he only had two white collar fights. And I think Mark showed enough in his debut that he can progress to higher level with time. But we accept it will take time, but he's got a good training in himself. And do you think realistically Southern Area titles are beyond his reach in the next year or so?
I think that's what we're looking for. And the way he's training, he's improving all the time. That's the main thing. I mean, if he weren't improving, then there's no point in going for a 10-man titles like Southern Area. I say it's still 10 man, isn't it? Yeah, so, yeah, I think Southern Area, if you get a Southern Area title, then he wins that. Then who knows, he can get a British title. So, but we're confident where he's going, and hopefully he'll get it.
And Mark, how difficult has it been, the transition from the unlicensed scene to the professionals, and how did you feel that you handled yourself as well as you thought in the first fight?
Yeah, I knew Moses was going to be tricky. I think anyone who fights him knows that he's a tricky customer. But yeah, it's just the intensity that's changed really, from 2-minute rounds to 3-minute rounds. Just the intensity of training, making sure that it's more important now than a professional, do you know what I mean? When I was unlicensed, you don't take it serious. So, yeah, nice. I feel like it's going well.
And are you actually enjoying being a professional boxer, and what's the hardest part of it?
For someone like me, it's the food. I do love a bit of food. No, I do enjoy it. It keeps me busy. For me personally, I feel like I'm the best man possible. So, as long as we keep doing what we're doing, who knows what we're going to achieve.
Okay, moving on to Bradley Smith, turned professional at 18 years of age. He's had a couple now. Do you feel that things are now, the penny's dropping and you're progressing through? And I mean, how do you think things are going with Steve Whitwell?
Yeah, it's definitely like progressing. I mean, you can see from my last performance how much I've come on since my first one. I mean, I can only get better, you know. I'm only 18. I mean, Steve's bringing me on week in, week out in the gym and sparring with Tyler. I mean, everything's just coming together now, and yeah, I feel good.
Do you feel turning professional at 18, there is a potential risk? I'm not saying it will happen with you because I'm managing you, but do you think there is a potential of going too quick and not giving yourself enough time to develop?
Yeah, of course there's a risk of that, but I mean, everyone wants titles, so if a title opportunity comes, I'm going to take it. That's the only thing. I mean, whereas if I turned over at 20, 21, I mean, I could get to that stage by 24, but I'm going to get there about 20 years old.
And that's for sure. I mean, by the time you're 20, you'll probably have done about 10 fights, aren't you? And you'll be ready to knock on the door. So, I mean, are you keen then to be winning titles at quite a young age?
Yeah, I'm already looking at Southern Area, to be honest now. I'm just keeping my eye on it, but yeah, I'm definitely looking to win titles and just keep progressing.
But tell us a bit about the Steve Whitwell camp and what he brings to the table for you.
Well, he's brought me boxing back. I was always a counter-puncher in the amateurs, and that's why I am again now. I mean, sparring with Tyler's brought me inside work, and I mean, the camp's good as well. Like, we're all bouncing off each other, all working hard, and we're all pushing each other to be the best, so it's good, isn't it?
Moving on to Aussie Jervier. Aussie, are you ever going to do the rounds, or are you going to keep knocking people out?
Sorry?
I didn't go in there to do any of these things. I just be relaxed and composed, and whatever happens, happens. I didn't go in there to do that. But I take it.
Do you consider yourself a big puncher, or do you consider yourself more of an all-round boxer who's got the punch to get rid of people early when it happens?
Well, I like boxing. A lot of people do tell me I have power, but they just stay relaxed and don't load up and keep composed, work on sharpness all the time, just to make everything fast.
And how quickly do you feel you'll be ready to compete for major titles? I mean, I know you've got to get a few fights under your belt, but do you think realistically this year, towards the end of the year, you can start hitting Southern area level at minimum?
Well, right now, I see at the end of this year, I want that Southern area title.
That's where you're aiming for then, you want to get, yeah.
That is the aim, yeah, this year.
Tell us about who's training you and how training's been going for this fight.
Well, I'm training with Ade Adekele, Tunde Ajayi, and Martin Malcolm. They're training me, work on being focused, having the concentration, speed, being witty, you know, and just keeping focused.
I'd like to move on to the end and we'll deal with the Dalton Miller-Eric Maconzo fight at the end. We'll start just down here. And let's deal with Adrian Martin, who I thought looked fantastic on his debut. Bearing in mind he had he had his date changed, didn't you? And yet he came out against Gabor Balog, who's a really tough opponent and done a brilliant job. How's things progressed since your first fight, Adrian, and what can we expect to see on the 12th of March?
Thanks for the nice words. Yeah, I feel like I've come on a lot more fitter. I've got a lot bigger and stronger at the weight last time. I came in at 11 stone. Still, I think I'm very tall for the weight, but I've filled out a lot as I'm getting older and feeling a lot stronger, sitting on my shots better, and I think I've got a much better punch than I did to start off with. And I'm just trying to keep it classy still, so I'm putting it all together and see what comes off of it.
Really looking forward. Yes, I mean, it's going well. And how's the relationship working with Terry Stewart down in Loughton? How's that going?
It's going really well. We've been going down there every week, sparring some really, really good pros down there, some really good prospects. And he's a really nice bloke, and him and my coach get along really well. So it's good. It's great going down there. It's a really good learning experience.
That's been good. I mean, you've got a great coach who's committed to you and takes you sparring everywhere with Joe, haven't you? And it's been great to see you down at Terry sparring. So let's hope that 12th of March is another part of the experience en route to titles for you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, 2-0. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, but I'm streaming.
The next Adrian is Big Dave Abraham, heavyweight 3-0, looking to make it 4. It's a step up against Igor Mihailovic because Mihailovic did take a round off the current Southern Area champion Dominic Akinladi. So in reality, you got rid of Andrew Angelov in your last fight. This guy's going to pose a different threat. How's training been going, and are you happy to step up a little bit in this fight?
Yeah, training's going good, but all that aside, I'm coming to knock this guy out. This guy's getting knocked out, and that's what everyone's coming to see. I'm going to be a heavyweight that people are going to talk about in this country, and I've just got to take it one fight at a time, keep doing my thing, keep dedicating myself, keep giving me the tests, because that's what I want.
That's the thing about the heavyweight division more than anything else. If you train hard and build up your record, there is a real pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, isn't there? As we've seen with Gary Cornish, Dillian White. Obviously, when you get there, you want to be winning rather than losing like those guys. But there is a tremendous amount of money involved in heavyweight boxing if you can keep that undefeated record going. So, are you motivated more by the money side, or is it about winning titles and the boxing? What actually motivates you more?
Honestly, money means nothing to me. Money doesn't mean anything to me. I want to prove something to myself. I've been in and behind the scenes. I've been in with world champions, British champion, European, Olympic, you name it. I've been at. Some of the guys in this room have seen me behind the scenes over years of training, and all I've got to do is perform on the night, every night, and you put me in front under the lights, and then, it's not going to be long before I'm talked about in this country and in the world.
The next to Dave is former amateur star Chris Evangelou, who's had an interrupted professional career, you could say, and it's been no more than the hand injury that's kept Chris out for, I think it's 15 months, isn't it, Chris? Yeah. How's the hand healing? Are you confident it will hold up? And what are your aspirations for 2016?
I think we've got to wait until I punch the guy in the face with 8-ounce gloves on, but I'm really confident that it will hold up. I've been doing a lot of sparring every day. I've been sparring a lot of guys a lot heavier than me who are coming to bring me a good fight in sparring, and I've been using a lot of lighter gloves, and to be honest, it's not healing anymore, it's healed. So, God willing on the night, put the lighter gloves on and start smashing people in the face with it.
So what for 2016? What do you want out of your boxing career this year?
Just to get back in the ring on the 12th, get back in, you know, I want my name in the mouth of my fans again, the supporters, and that's what us boxers want. We want to be spoken about, we want to have recognition for what we do. We all train so hard. I mean, I was saying earlier that we train 20 times harder than a pro footballer does, but they get paid 1,000 times more than we do. But we put in such hard work, and we all want the recognition, and it's the toughest sport in the world. Boxing is the toughest sport in the world, and I don't care what anyone says. If they don't agree with it, come and step in the ring with anyone on this table, and we'll prove that. And this fight is going to be my comeback fight. It has been frustrating over the year, but everything happens for a reason. I retired in my mind before I had to pull out my last fight because of the hand, and I went and done other things, but my hand was healing in the background, and I set myself up, so I'm not relying 100% on boxing. I haven't put all my eggs in one basket, but you know what, a lot of pressure's come off it, and I feel a lot happier in myself and in my life, and a happy fight is a good fighter.
Good luck on the 12th, and I hope and pray that 2016 is your year, because it's about time that everybody's able to see the skills that you've got and they were delivered with title. So let's hope 2016 does that.
Thank you very much.
So Mustard Mike, now joint top of the bill. After a year out with injuries, a comeback fight, and now you're fighting for a challenge belt title against a tough Bulgarian Daniel Stanoyev. What does it mean to be top of the bill, joint top of the bill, and what are you expecting for this year and this particular fight?
Well, it means the world to be top of the bill. Like you mentioned before, I was away for just over a year with the injuries, so to be back fighting and training is just a blessing. I'm just very happy to be here. Well, my opponent, he won his last fight. I won my last fight. I'm not sure if he contacted you or you contacted him, but yeah.